Okay.
Let's get some chill songs on. This will do.
Alright, cool. There we go. Okay, so we're back slash starting something new slash a mix of both slash whatever. I'm joined by the man himself, Mr. Young Puppeteer, Chris, aka Dark, and some random lychee player. So anyway,
crazy.
Yo,
The slanders. What the hell?
Oh,
Okay, we're already on badness.
20 seconds into the discussion, that's criminal. Fam.
I'm
can't
joined
escape.
by Scythe slash Amari.
Yes, that was good.
You guys probably seen these guys on my YouTube already. Or you've seen us from Dragon Ball slash Melty slash other games you play. That's what we'll do.
You go first, Chris. You go first, bro.
What else do I play? MVCI. I also play Persona 4 Arena. Damn, I play a lot. I played Guilty Gear at one point. Mostly anime. If you see me from anime and team games.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like me, you've probably seen me from bit of Guilty Gear, bit of Under Night, maybe.
Oh yeah, I forgot Under Night as well.
Yeah, Hondo, man. You might know me from Smash if you're about Smash 4 Project M days as well. I was about in that still. But currently, if you play anime and you're from Europe, you probably know who I am. You've probably fought me at least one time in a Discord, man.
Yep, that's basically what we're about. Anime games, basically. I played Dragon Ball, then I played CF for a little bit, but then I stopped playing fighting games altogether for like a couple of years, and then I'm back on CF now. I played a little bit of MLT for a while, ran a tournament in that. Played a little bit of Under Night, but nothing that much, to be honest. Mainly DBFC and Type Lumina. But now I'm grinding CF with these guys and the rest of Europe. Blah, blah, blah. So, we were talking about CF and what it's like as a beginner in a legacy game like CF slash Guilty Gear and BlazBlue as a whole. I mean, we thought it would be a good topic to talk about. How to get in, what it's like getting in, maybe help someone who's thinking about getting in but maybe is a bit scared because of like all the legacy players and etc. Sort of give our perspective on what it's been like and whether we think it's worth it. So that's basically what we're going to talk about today. And the first thing I wanted to mention, or sort of the first topic of the whole topic in general, is the differences between, for me, Dragon Ball, because that was my first game, and coming from that game to this game, what was my biggest hurdle? And so the two things. One was the matchup knowledge, like just not knowing what the hell I was doing against one character to another and how I have to play completely different. Whereas with Dragon Ball, it's very homogenous and you can just play the game in the system. And the second thing, which I don't know if you guys had a problem with this, but I had a serious problem with crouch confirms when I started playing this game. I could not wrap my hand around it, like trying to figure out that a character was crouching while playing neutral slash getting a hit in neutral slash getting a hit in pressure and then having to confirm that. I was fucking
That's because you don't play mix-up characters like us. If when we hit people, we know where they're. We know what position they're in.
I think for us, like, even though Dragon Ball wasn't me or Dark's first fighting games, it's definitely the one we've spent the most time on. I'd say. So we get what you're saying, but I think because we also play in other games in between that, I think we probably encountered different hurdles.
For me, anyways, when it comes to like crouch confirms and in general, just like not even count hit confirms. It's just like confirming different combos off of the situation you hit them in.
Yeah.
With the characters I play, there are situations where I know the position they are going to get hit in because I aim to hit in that position. So, for example, when I play Relius, if let's say I knock them down and then I set Ignis, if I hit them with an overhead, my overheads force them to be in crouching position.
See, look at these guys, bro.
so I know if they're going to be in crouching or not. if it's a case of neutral, then it's a bit harder because I have to like know if I'm going to get a counter hit or not.
Yeah.
Because with counter hits, they change very differently depending like on if it's not a counter hit or if it is a counter hit. Because if it is a counter hit, Relius, for example, he gets 5B into 6C, which is the big fist that goes to the sky, right? And you can't get that off a counter hit normally. So you have to like watch out for that. So it's not necessarily a struggle for me. It's just a case of I really have to be careful with my selection in neutral because 5B into 6C isn't gapless on block. So if I just autopilot that, I can just get overdrive reversaled or DP'd or like mashed on or whatever. So it's not necessarily reacting to it. It's like putting myself in a situation where I know what I get is what I get, basically.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense.
I think for me it's quite different because at least when I first started playing TF in like 2020 with Kokonoya I definitely hear what you were saying because doing crouch confirms with her, it took a long time to get used to. But with Lychee, like crouch confirms don't really matter like that because whether you're standing or crouching, as long as you focus on getting that Tsubame into the meaty stuff, whichever combo you do is honestly completely fine. I would say the only times where getting crouch confirms has mattered to me is when I hit a counter hit 5B in the corner and you go into 5B 6C and put the staff down and the opponent has to eat like a free 4 to 5k. But it hasn't really affected my gameplay of Lychee as much as it should. So I guess the whole crouch confirm issue is a character to character thing. Neutral, however, that was definitely a struggle. Like knowing where to start, knowing where you've put the staff, how far the staff is going to travel, if you'll have enough time to do a specific route, and then the staff will come back so you can extend or get into a slide and knock down. You have to always remember whether you've put the staff in vertical or horizontal set because that will dictate how you get your knockdown. That was the hard part. So I would say it took a while to get used to that because, to be honest, I've never really played a character where that mad stole so much and there were so many variables you had to take into account to get your knockdown. But it didn't take that long to get used to, but it's definitely a new hurdle. Like out of all the fighting games I've played, I've never had to take it into account to such an extent before.
Yeah, I mean, I think in general as well, like you said, like Dark said with the counter hit stuff, I think just in general, confirming in CF is just harder in general than it is in Dragon Ball for me because like so much more matters. Like I said, crouching confirms, counter hit confirms, and fatal counters. Like there's actually just more to take account into, and also similarly to Multi Blood, counter hits when someone is in the air enables pickups that don't work if you just hit them
that's
normally.
Actually a thing where I think that's probably my struggle because before I came to CF, I played multi, and counter hit confirms in the air multi is so free because
press
JB and then they fall to the ground.
Trust me.
They have full on tech time until they hit the ground, so it's just the freest of pickups.
Bro, CT and Lumina, bro.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But CF is just increased hit stun, so it's not really untechable. Even with other Arxis games, so like Guilty Gear, for example, Guilty Gear, well, at least for Strive, I don't know too much about Exod and Accent Core, but Strive is the same shit. There isn't hit stun decay in like Strive. It's just juggles. So you just hit them, you wait for them to land, and you just confirm. But with Persona and especially CF, it's just increased hit stun. So like you actually have to be on point with that shit.
Yeah. So that's an added skill gap, which I think is good in a game. And speaking of skill gaps, I actually didn't find as much as an issue with this as a lot of other people seem to, but instant block being a very core part of the defense. And a lot of matchups, for example, Susan, 6B, Azrael, Lariat or Gustav.
S214B was a big one for me, bro.
Yeah. So,
bro, for me, it was Terami's fucking 5B.
Oh, man.
Terami's 5B.
What,
if you
is
don't
it,
know how to do that,
what's the other guy?
even
six
like
B as well.
even
Flipping
like
no.
Tager Sledgehammer, bro. Before I knew you had to IB that, I hated fighting that character for
Oh
years.
man,
Oh my god,
Crazy.
Tager's
yeah.
the real skill diff when you're starting BlazBlue, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not
100%.
gonna lie.
100%. Who thought three frame startup on Invon was a smart idea? Who
That's
Bro,
not
thought?
hype.
who
That's not
thought, bro?
hype.
Who thought Afro Potbuster was Christian, bro?
Oh my
That's a
gosh.
sinful route, bro.
Nah, that is a funny character. But yeah, so I am sorry, not Iron Taker. Instant blocks being a part of matchups is actually really important, and it's so subtle that if for new players that's gonna be hard to like clock. That's the issue. You kind of need someone to tell you
Yeah,
to like open your eyes to like to see it, and that's I think one of the issues that a lot of people come into when because coming to play BlazBlue, you need to be like a serious player. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, you need to like. That's the thing is you have to. Okay, so I say there's like two like prerequisites to like getting into BlazBlue.
Mhm.
One, you have to really find the character you like. You need to
yeah,
find the character that you enjoy enough to go through all of the hardships of learning this
Mm.
game because it's tough.
Which, to be
So,
fair, isn't that hard because there's a lot of varied characters
but
and a
I
that's
lot
the
of
can't,
good
I
part.
can't,
character
I can't
designs.
lie. Yeah, it's very, very funny you mentioned that because the character crisis thing was the reason I stopped playing this game for a year. Like I said, I started playing the game in 2020 with Kokonoa. Yeah, after that, I was like, I kind of want to try someone else, bro. I tried Jin, I tried Izuyoi, I tried Amane. Who else did I try, bro? I tried Ez, I tried Mu 12. No one was sticking. I was like, you know what, bro? Lumina's coming out in a few months. Fuck this game, bro. Then I decided to just give it another try, and it was like, actually, I'll be real. Once you find the character in this game that clicks, if you find them early on, you're sitting pretty, bro. Because that character crisis, especially in CF, is shaggy. Because
Mm.
Is
the main
peak.
thing about CF, the hardest part isn't actually learning your character. It's how does your character have counterplay of other characters. And unless
True.
you're like confident with your character to like a pretty large extent, you're never figuring that
Mhm.
out. And the
Mm.
That's the
character crisis will
second
just
thing. You
prolong that.
have to be. That's like the second prerequisite I was talking about.
Mm.
You really have to like be okay with doing your homework. Basically, I
Hundred
always,
percent. 100%.
I always say this to like people that are into fighting games, but they aren't into CF. I always say CF is like a do your homework first type of game, which
Mm.
isn't like a bad thing. It's not
Yeah,
necessarily like because people associate homework with like boring because like no one wants
Yeah.
to do their homework in it.
Mhm.
yeah,
But like, if you enjoy the process of learning, then CF is like one of the most fun games to play. But
Mhm.
if you aren't prepared for that, then it's tough.
Yeah.
It's really tough.
No, I agree. I think that I personally, for me, my enjoyment of CF has gone up exponentially with the amount of knowledge I've gained about the game and its intricacies. But for a lot of people, either one, that's just not how it works for them, or two, they just don't want to go through the process to get through that fun. Like that's why a lot of games now, not in the derogatory term, but are a lot simplified.
Yeah,
Where
streamlined basically.
yeah, streamlined. Like IB isn't as important. It doesn't change much. In fact, there's not even just IB. There's also barrier and IBB. So there's three defensive
Yeah.
things, and even there's also TRM. So there's a lot of stuff on defense that we made fun of this term in Dragon Ball, but active defense is
Active
really a thing
defense.
in this game.
hey man, that's
Do you get what I'm saying? It's funny because we made fun of it in Dragon Ball because like the defense in Dragon Ball is
was a
blocking or
huge meme.
reflecting.
bro. And I think
Because
that's
active defense is holding raw tag, bro.
Literally, bro.
bro.
So-
I honestly think that that's the reason why a lot of Dragon Ball players never ended up going to Blaze because it's like with Dragon Ball from like back when I was first starting, so late season 1. Yeah, like a lot of the things I figured out about the game was just playing by feel, like not labbing anything, just playing by feel and figuring it out myself. I only started properly going into training mode and delving into stuff like 6M Clash Wars and Uni Fuzzies all them days was when I was being like basically coached by people like Rams and that. When I was told
Yeah.
that stuff actually exists. Because I was still winning and I was still in a good place without knowing all of that. You get the difference with BlazBlue is that you need this knowledge in order to not necessarily beat the skill diff, but just not get completely shaken to the point where I don't know why I'm losing.
Exactly.
This game is just meaty, bro. Like I'm gonna do something else.
I think that's the important thing. Not knowing why you're losing when it feels like your opponent just knows everything. Do you know what I'm saying? Whereas in a game like I'm not naming any names, but in a different game where it's just like, oh yeah, they were just more plus than I was more often. Do you get what I'm saying? Like that's what it is for, or that's what it feels like going from CF to a different game where it's like there's not much intricacies different. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's how I feel like for me or for other people that I see trying to jump into CF, they're like this kind of wars they come into.
Yeah, I think like the main thing specifically coming from Dragon Ball to CF was that the habits that I had in Dragon Ball get me smoked in CF to this day. Like for example, with me, you guys have played me. The people that play me know I love to just move around the screen. I love to jump a lot. I love to air dash a lot. I love to use the stuff to maneuver. And going from the game I played straight after Dragon Ball around lockdown was CC. And I played IQ of a million in that game. So my habit of moving around in Dragon Ball, bro, I'm catching in every position of the screen with IQ of a million, flying, using the pits to stay in the air.
Yeah.
Now in CF, if people know I'm gonna jump, I'm getting cooked.
That
Yeah.
I'm
is
getting cooked.
thing.
I'm getting cooked. And it's stuff like that. And when you go from one game to another and you're still not being punished for that habit, and then you go to another game and you're just getting cooked for it. Like it's things like that. You really need to be ready to like lose a lot and get to the point where you're willing to take those losses and understand.
I would say that's like the
why
main thing. The
Yeah.
main thing going from Dragon Ball specifically to CF, movement is way more committal in CF than it is in Dragon Ball.
100%.
Because
Like-
you can't even air block in CF without spending resource. You have to spend barrier in order to block in the air,
which
and that
increases your
comes
block
with
stun
own,
as well.
like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It comes with its own risks and like things to watch out for.
Yeah.
So like,
especially because of the option selects as well, man.
So that's another thing, actually. Reactable throws. I mean, you could, the intent to throw is reactable, and the what's it called? The tech window is like 15 frames. So it's, I would say, barely reactable, but there's OSs. So, but then there's also ways to beat the OSs by doing other things. So there's just a lot of
like micro dash throws, delaying the throws, like all of that, man.
yeah.
Like, yeah.
So yeah, there's all of that. I had another question, or topic about. Oh yeah, another thing I think, coming from Dragon Ball, which I think Dragon Ball did very very well. Well, actually two things, but I think the Dragon Ball community did very very well, which was a result of just the progression of the natural progression of the things and. The community just doing better and getting better and feeding off each other. Was the educational content on YouTube around Dragon Ball is miles, like eons ahead
Shout
of CF.
out House of MZ, bro. I'm telling you, if there's any Dragon Ball players who end up watching this and they want to get better, even though the stuff is from old patches, go to House of MZ. That channel specifically, gold man, gold man. Ha, man.
Like, when I think of Dragon Ball content, I think of Wrath, I think of Lord Knight, and I think of RMC. Like, these three guys just did amazing.
Even Kuwanga. Kuwanga's combos helped
Kuwanga
me out
combos,
in the beginning as well.
That's a
man.
good
Kuwanga
point.
too.
Yeah.
And
Kuwanga
they've got
did
good
crazy.
resources now with I don't know the channel name. Dash Fight, I think, where they do the character guides.
Oh yeah, they do the character guys. Yeah,
Dragon Ball has very, very good resources, man.
Yeah, 100%. Man. It's just different. Obviously, this is just what's it called? An era diff. Like the time when CF came out, these kind of guides weren't the talk of the town. You know what I'm saying? People were doing. I mean, and I'm very glad that we have the wiki. The wiki is great, but obviously not everyone learns well from just reading stuff on the screen. Do you know what I'm saying?
I think the main issue with CF resources is that it is there, but it's very dependent on what you want to learn. Like stuff like the OSs and stuff, there's readily available video guides that are stupendous. I use them, they helped a lot. But specifically for character guides, how well your resources are going to be depends on what character you want to play. Because for my character, like for Lychee example, there's at least like 3 guides I can think of, video guides at the top of my head, which are like 4 hours, 1 hour, 15 minutes, informative. Jin has the same thing. I don't know other characters, but it's very unequal. So depending on what character you want to learn, the resources are kind of shaky. I think every character has like a Bible or something, but I know for a fact most people digest like resources better in video format when you can see it being put into practice and whatnot. So
Most of my earliest knowledge just came from Sir Panda. Like,
Everyone benefits from resources in a different way, but
Yeah.
specifically for people who like video resources, it will be a lot harder.
I would say that is something that like the CF, if they want more people to come in, that's what they could do better.
Yeah.
I feel like there needs to be more, not only just like video examples, but like digestible video examples.
Yes, very important.
Everything's like feeling, like I said before, like the main lighting guide that Yuri has, for example. It's an amazing guide. I use it. I still go back to it, but bro, it's like 5 hours long, man.
Not everyone's
gonna want to watch that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like most of the guys, there are rarely any video guides, and if there are video guides, they're just like an hour and 30 minutes long stream VODs that they recorded from like 2016, talking about just them rambling on the character. And I'm not saying that's not good. It's good, but like it's really hard to learn. Like it's really hard to learn a character that way, because you can say like, oh, but at least they're going into detail. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're just
sometimes they're waffling, bro.
Sometimes they're just rambling about stuff that isn't going to apply to you for like
100 games. Yeah.
But I do think now, obviously after rollback and stuff, there are a lot more people playing this game, and there are a few people who are actively trying to like move away from that.
No,
like even Yuri, for example, he's made more like shorter guides, and even Seven is doing like counterplay guides for Ezreal with like every character.
They're getting better about it.
It
is getting better, but there just needs to be more, which I believe is gonna happen. Obviously, it's just a matter of time and like development and stuff, because as Ini said, it is just a difference in era. Dragon Ball came out at a time where like YouTube was more prevalent in fighting games, and like information is way more accessible. Like
100%.
And like less people are just hiding tech. Like we get less people. Back in the day, people would just outright hide tech so that they could use in tournaments. But now that the game is like a little bit less in competition, people are like more open.
Yeah, so that's a very good point as well.
It's just a case of time.
Yeah, 100%. And the more people that join the community now of games like Street Fighter 6, they're gonna want to make that content for people who come into it later. I think we're entering a very different age in fighting games. So a lot of the issues, not necessarily issues, but a lot of the things that are missing from the community when we first joined, or probably earlier, they're on the road to being addressed now, man. So I think it will change.
Yeah, definitely. Like we were talking about making content and stuff, like even me myself, I've started to think about how, because I made educational content for Dragon Ball as well. Definitely not as high level or as I don't think as digestible as stuff like Wrath and Lord Knight stuff. But I do think the information was there. Like it's literally as soon as I started playing the game, I just started making like information on it. So for me, as someone who's very, like you were talking about the what's called the 4-hour VODs and stuff. As someone who will go through that stuff, I feel like you have to have exactly. I feel like personally, the kind of people that go through that stuff are just like, there's something wrong with them. Do you know what I'm saying? Which is me, but we're literally ill. Like, but at the same time, I understand that most people wouldn't. So I do want to try and make some sort of easier to digest stuff so that more people can.
That's why back in the Dragon Ball day, that's where my idea for the Genembits came in, because I was like, I want people to like learn Genemba, but I want it in a way where it's like very easy to understand. So I just want like a 2 or 5 minute video, like maybe a little bit longer depending on how much information you want to put in. Just explain the thing, give them visual examples, and then just explain it in a manner that a lot of people can understand. Not everyone, because you can't like get everyone to understand, but make it as digestible as you can, basically.
I think there's a sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say, I feel like the simpler the better as well, because once you give someone the initial push and like the maybe just a little bit below surface level stuff, they're gonna practice that stuff anyway, and then they'll start to like lab the intricacies that go even further than that. So you don't need to go through every single interaction in a matchup or whatever.
I think, and you can also break it. Like I think this is a thing that's been lost, since like a lot of videos are becoming a bit more long form in content, because like they want more ads in it so that they can monetize it more. But it is good to split different. So if you're doing a character guide, it's completely okay to split aspects of the character in different videos entirely.
100%. 100%.
Like, if you want to do a video on combos, do the combo video. If you want to do a video going on like the pressure and like the mix-up situations, then do that. If you want a video on defense, do a separate video on that. Not everything has to be in a whole like one video, because like that's going to be very overwhelming for someone new into the franchise or just like fighting games in general.
Yeah.
I agree. What are you gonna say, Scythe?
I think like a stem of that, yeah, is, and this is specifically something that Rams told me years ago. It was when you're watching your own gameplay or when you're watching like pro gameplay, do you understand why the things are happening? As in like, why are you getting hit here? How did you hit them here? Why did you get hit neutral, etc. And I think a lot of, obviously, when people watch other people's gameplay or their own gameplay, there's not a guarantee that they necessarily know why things are happening. So I think something that could help the community in general, and I personally want to start doing this, is like reviewing VODs and recording it, by explaining my thought process to certain things.
Yeah, no, that's what I
and stuff
wanted
like
to
that.
do
Because I think that's a very big hurdle, because a lot of people don't know why their habits are getting punished, and stuff like that. Like there's just like little things.
No, you're actually right.
Actually, you go.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. I was gonna say that's right.
What I wanted to do when I like got a bit more advanced in the game, I actually wanted to review like old sets in like Central Fiction, not just with my characters, but with characters in general, so that I can explain the interactions that are going on through the match and like how you can apply them into your like gameplay, basically.
It's actually very funny, because like what I've been doing like in the past month is that I have a few friends in sixth form currently who have been interested in learning fighting games, but they didn't know there were a lot of barriers in it. And they know I play it, so I've just been showing them some of my sets and some like high level sets and doing that exact same thing, like specifically with Lightshy sets, explaining how the staff works and then applying that theory into how I approach neutral, or where the opponent is of Lightshy's options and how I capitalize on that. So for example, let's say I get someone in a Subame knockdown now. They're in the corner, they know, oh, okay, he's probably going to try and hold the staff to meaty me, so I'm just not going to do anything. And if I expect the opponent's going to do that, I can just run up and 5B one block and then keep the staff there to extend pressure later. Like small things like that, people aren't necessarily going to know when they're first starting playing the character, and that's very important. You know what I'm saying? So I think VOD reviews in that sense would definitely help the community a lot in such a complex game. Like,
yeah, for sure. That's another thing. Like you said, it's very, very complex, and understanding thought processes and decision making is a big part of fighting games as a whole. So that kind of content would definitely fill a void that I think that BlazBlue had. Because I think I did, it wasn't just me, but I did some VOD reviews for people as well, explaining thought processes and stuff for Dragon Ball. And I think, I can't remember who else was it. Was it Lord Knight or was it Cloud 809? I can't remember.
That they reviews high level.
Say again, Doug?
That was reviewed at high level.
Yeah.
Stage Jam.
Oh yeah. Sage Jam does that for like every game. Yeah. So Sage Jam's very good. His stuff is very, very good for that. And I think his stuff helps with all fighting game and just general knowledge. I was just remembering now, another thing while Scythe was mentioning about new players wanting to get into the FGC. Another thing that I think helped me very recently, which also started very recently. I think it only started like 20 weeks ago. The beginner pen. I think the beginner pen is the best thing that has happened to CF after. Oh, actually, after not even just after rollback, after the improvement mode. I think beginner pen is so good for newer players, because first of all, you're playing against other beginners, so you're not just getting stomped every game. You're actually playing people who are like at the same level, dropping the same combos, dropping their pressure, blah blah blah. So it gives you like that sort of, I guess, camaraderie or similar level that you want to like rise above.
Yeah.
But also, it's round robin. I'm sick and tired of joining a new fighting game with legacy skill, playing a tournament and going 0-2 and not learning anything.
Yeah, it's so demoralizing.
It's so good that it's first to 3 and it's round robin with 8 people. So Maho, if you're watching this, thank you for what you're doing, because I really appreciate it. Which is why I'm trying to get people to like sub to your channel and sub to your YouTube and stuff, because you don't have to do what you're doing. And after TOing Melty Blood for like a couple months, 3 months or whatever, I've come to appreciate how much effort TOs put, and I wasn't even that great of a TO. And the people who were doing better stuff that I did for different games. So thank you, Maho. And if you're, wanting to get into CF, but afraid you might not get people around your level, trust me. If you're in Europe, join Maho Shoujo's tournaments. And if you are in America, I actually went to the Discord and asked if they have a beginner tournament as well, and they do. It's called the Training Mode Network. I will put the link to their Discord in the description of this video, and also the guys or the person's name is, I think, Dove. But yeah, join that Discord. Ask Dove, how he can get involved. I think they do theirs every 2 weeks or so. Maho does his every week, but you can't join every week because it's like a rotation system, so like priority system. So if you join 1 week, you get put to the back of the queue, sort of. But just keep joining, keep playing, and watching obviously games that he puts up on YouTube, and also the weeklies that he does on Wednesdays as well. Join the Europe Discord and all of that stuff. So yeah, beginner tournaments I think really help. And I think that's one thing as well that really pushed me to wanna improve. So shout outs to him. And then last thing I think really helped coming from the thing that I think I struggled with when it came to CF was training mode. Obviously, being an old game, the training mode is sheesh.
Lacking.
It's like trying to make a car in 1200s, fam. Caveman days or something. It's peak. It's peak. But obviously the improvement mod does exist, and I think the whole reversal stuff.
More people getting into CF need to know about that, man.
Yes.
Especially now, bro. Especially now, because the improvement mod has options that I don't think I've ever seen in any other fighting game. There's now an AI in the improvement mode that will scan your matches while you play them, and an AI dummy in training mode will mimic how those people play.
That stuff's mad.
I've never seen something like that.
No, even something I don't know. Even something as simple as just reversal actions. It's just so good for learning situations, because there's so many times where before the improvement one came out where I had to learn if a setup was properly me. I just had to do it on myself by recording an AI to do it. It was so fucking cumbersome.
Yeah, struggle. But thankfully, like I said, we do have IM now, and they're constantly updating it. So thanks to those guys as well, Microsoft, Grim, and Kovi, who initially got it started. So shout out to those guys, and thank them for the support that they do. I'll put the Discords for those improvement mod Discord. I'll put the links for the
in particular for the AI as well, because he's been putting.
Kaden, yeah. So if you are interested in going to CF, it is pretty late in the game, but I actually feel like the game's on a resurgence right now. More people actually getting into it right now. So now is the time to jump back in.
This game's been out for CF specifically 7 years, and Mandem is still playing it. I don't think this game is going anywhere anytime soon, bro.
I mean, if I was to be a bit subjective and a bit of bias, I think it's the best 1v1 anime fighter of all time. I don't think there's any better game that is as good. A lot of people say Plus R or Accent Core. I think that is also a very good game. But obviously, like I said, bias and personal preference. I prefer the system mechanics in BlazBlue. But always remember, if you're on Steam, you can buy it for, I think it's £30 right now. And then
hit up CD keys, bro. Don't
CD keys as well. Or to be fair, it goes on sale every now and then as well. It was just on sale for £7. So maybe wait till it's on sale. Watch some YouTube videos, watch some streams. You know what I'm saying, and then see if you get a feel for it. And then obviously copy it when it's on sale, or CD keys, and then you can refund if you don't like it.
I also recommend this game for if your only experience with fighting games is modern fighting games, so Strive, Dragon Ball, stuff like that, is a really good contrast to understand by playing all the fighting games, because there's a lot of design for the philosophies that are just different from the newer games that we play now. You just have to. It's good to learn that back in the day, some things were just fucking broken, and there was nothing you could do about it.
Nothing
you
you could
just
do
had to
about
charge
it.
You just had to hold that. Like.
There is no patches. There's no like way about it. You just have to charge it. You
Like,
just have
can't
to
lie,
charge it.
Dragon Ball man, them. If you man think Blue Crew is cracked, come play BlazBlue, bro. we'll get you right.
Who do you think is a more egregious character? Android 21 at her prime, or like Margin? Sorry, Doctor Android 21, Labco 21, or Izanami?
Bro.
Is that a question?
Bro, come on, man.
Is that a question?
Is that, bro?
This is insane.
Oh man,
Android 20, bro. Android 21 has to
actually,
block. That's my answer. Android 21 has to block at some point, bro. I refuse to elaborate. If you don't know what I mean,
my god.
pick Izanami.
Okay, you know what? Let me actually be fair to like Dragon Ball characters and players here. I'd say Android 21 Labco is more of a centralizing character than Izanami. But in terms of just raw character power, bro,
she has a lot of stuff going for her. That's what I say, man. She has a lot of stuff going for her. It is what it is.
I think actually, I think something that Dragon Ball actually helped me with after playing games like, what did I play before? Dragon Ball, Project M, Street Fighter 4, Unio, where I was just picking characters based on appearance and who I thought would look cool. Specifically in like the end parts of me playing Dragon Ball, so like 2020, 2021, Dragon Ball really helped me understand what I like in a character. So when I was playing characters like Beerus, Kid Buu, Zamasu after he got buffed, I grew to understand, okay, I like set play characters, I like rushdown characters, I like to move around. Then after that, I went to CC, played Arcade Vermilion, then here with Lychee. Like, so Dragon Ball's not a horrible starting point to bridge out of.
No, definitely not.
I think moving to other games will just make it easier for you to understand what you want. Because even though Dragon Ball's got its uniqueness, most of the cast at its core is very, very similar.
Yeah.
Like, very, very, very similar.
Yeah.
So,
like,
I think, old games will definitely help you out in that sense, at least.
No, yeah, I do think a lot of more modern games, like Dragon Ball especially, I would never talk down on a game. Like, that game was very good. What'd you say?
Fat or cap.
I'll never publicly.
We're talking about.
Wait. Yeah, we're talking about our Dragon Ball. I'm talking about season 2. I'm talking about season 2 Dragon Ball, bro. I'm not talking about
peak Dragon Ball.
Yeah, bro. I'm talking about season 2 just before Uni Fuzzy got found, bro. Listen, season 3 Dragon Ball. Listen, that was a dark time, innit? But man, the darkness might come out if I'm talking about that. About season 3 Dragon Ball.
Because the way I have to hold myself back every time I look at Dragon Ball Twitter and I see some meme shit on fucking Dragon Ball,
man,
I have to fucking suppress the hate and understand myself.
You know what it is? It's every time I see Dragon Ball discourse on Twitter, and it's about the same things we were arguing about in 2019.
Yeah.
Oh no,
you're not wrong.
Much, you know, like 214M. Let me know before.
Oh my days, I'm crying. Yeah, no, this is a CF uplifting, not a Dragon Ball, not a Dragon Ball downplay. But yeah, like I do think I'm dead. But no, I do think that a lot of modern games do a lot of things correctly, and they do have stuff you can learn from. So hopefully, the new Uni is gonna be great as well when that comes out. I'm praying. I mean, fingers crossed. This guy. Fingers crossed, but I believe the community can, pull it off. And also, whenever they do a new installment of BlazBlue, which will probably be in maybe 4, 5, 6 years after Strive has run its course, then we can hopefully have something to look forward to then as well. But that's gonna wrap it up for this video. Shout outs to Darhk and Scythe for joining me for this one. I don't know if I'm gonna do this like regularly, but if there's something we want to talk about, or we just want to chat shit about CF and maybe explain in a bit more depth than I would normally go into in a tutorial video or whatever, or just chat or whatever, then I'll put up one of these. So yeah, shout out to these guys. I'll put their socials down below. These guys are uploading games just like I am, so please sub to their YouTubes. I think Scythe is gonna stream a bit more when his exams finish. I don't know if you're about streaming or if you're just on YouTube and stuff. Which one?
I can definitely stream some more.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so
I'm planning to.
if you want to see some puppeteer gaming and some stick gaming, then definitely hit at these guys. They're very, very good players as well. So yeah, shout out to them, man. If you guys want to sign yourself off as well.
You go first, Amar.
Me, I mean, yeah, bro. Like, Lychee is a very balanced character.
All right, next night there, Dark. Your turn. Dark. Your turn. Dark. Your turn.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Okay, it's your boy 76 Dark, aka Young Clover Connoisseur, aka Young Trap Narukami, aka Young.
These guys are clowns, bro. Young Trap Narukami, bro. I'm dead.
Young Tesco meal deal, always coming to cheapness. You know, actually, no, wait, no, cost of living.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
dead.
no.
Oh no, yeah, that's just. Isn't that how much is that now? 350 or?
It's like £3.50 now.
Bam.
I bought a meal deal today. I shuddered when I saw the price, bro.
Bam.
It was
Madness. But yeah, calm. Shout out to you guys. Thank you for coming through. Follow the Twitter, follow the Twitch, follow the YouTube, all of that stuff. So yeah, thanks you guys. Catch you on the next one. Peace.
in a bit.
Jeez.